Hi, my name is MJ Moores. I am an author and I write speculative fiction. I have a number of series out right now. The first and complete one is The Chronicles of Zanea, and it's a science fiction and fantasy series. Basically think of a female Indiana Jones who is hired to go on a quest that she doesn't believe in. I also have a few other series out currently that I'm in the middle of writing. I have 2 books out in the Demon Tales series that I'm writing with Nancy Pattenden, and that is a wonderful urban fantasy series with a tongue-in-cheek tone to it. And it's basically, think of Men in Black meets Supernatural. And it happens to take place right in the York Region area and surrounding parts. Then I'm also working on a romantic suspense series that I refer to as flawed attraction romances. I have 2 out in that one right now. They are based out of colleges and universities, so that age of main characters, and it's basically one of those situations where 2 people are thrust together and you would think there's no way that, they actually would belong together, but by the end, of course, with it being a true romance and having a happily ever after or a happily for now, they do find a way to be together, which is lots of fun and adventure along the way. And the last series I'm currently writing, I don't have any print books for, but they are coming out December for 2020 Christmas. And I have everything on Amazon right now, released as a serial in ebooks. And that series is called Shadow Phoenix. And it takes place in sort of a steampunk Victorian era in London, England. And you basically follow a young woman who discovers that she has a knack for saving the day. And she is, by the end of episode 1, dubbed by the local reporter, the City Guardian, Shadow Phoenix. So today, I'd like to read a bit of an excerpt from Volume 1, Episode 1 of Shadow Phoenix for you. Here is a picture of what it looks like. I know it's in reverse, but you get the idea. And you can find it, like I said, on Amazon. So I'm going to read the first few pages, about 5 or 6 minutes, and that should give you a good taste for the era and the craziness that ensues with every episode. So here we go. Shadow Phoenix, Volume 1, Episode 1, Answering the Call. Chapter 1, Arse over Tea Kettle. Louisa danced an awkward jig with the heavy wooden ladder, avoiding the topiary to either side of the sitting room doors, and stopped just short of the center of the room. She snarled at the dappled yet unconventional electric glass-drop chandelier. It clinked as she set the ladder in the exact right place. The tender skin at the base of her index finger caught in the bracing. "Odds bodkins!" she cursed, a tad louder than intended. Louisa sucked on her pinched flesh and looked to either door. One more slip like that and she'd be tossed out on the street, no reference to boot. She couldn't afford to let that happen again, regardless of how she felt about the job. Louisa shook out her hand, nabbed the feather duster tucked into the waistband at the back of her apron, and climbed the 12-foot ladder all the way to the top. At least the gas lamps lowered for ease of lighting and cleaning. The electrical wires attached to the useless crank box on the wall remained fixed, forcing her to climb. The nuances of the experimental technology left a lot to be desired. Reaching as tall as her willowy frame allowed, up even onto her tiptoes, she leaned forward and counterbalanced by raising her left foot, just so. That ought to do it. Louisa delicately dusted the lighting fixture. her mind flitting back to the last performance of Swan Lake she'd seen, and imagined herself a ballerina held high. Crystal chandeliers were a luxury. As well known as her master was, everyone knew his grant money went into his experiments, not his decorating. But even a young gentleman such as he had a certain level of opulence naturally equated with his position. Collectibles such as that eccentric glass lighting fixture became intriguing talking points for interviews and at fundraisers. A loud crash shook the ceiling. Muffled curses challenged the stillness of the room below. Tinkling glass swayed. Louisa held her breath and her body still. She dared not risk breaking anything. "Help! I say, I need help!" Master Bennet called from above. Louisa released her breath and kept dusting. Her thoughts drifted from her time cleaning gold filigree-encrusted balconies to the workshop above and a young master determined to invent something profound. I wonder what he's doing up there. Always banging about, harnessing thunder for goodness sakes. He'd doubled his time on the project in the last month since news of the coming drought had spread. Another thud and several hard stomps rattled the lighting fixture, causing her to pull away again. If she had to keep stopping like this, she would not be home before nightfall. Oh, and I was hoping to leave early tonight. She sighed, knowing her route back harbored more than the usual riffraff these days. Louisa straightened, lowering her foot onto the rung, duster still raised, as she listened for the familiar patter of Mrs. Courtwright's footsteps. They never came. "Help now! Help, I say!" Master Bennet's cry filled with an agitation Louisa had never heard before. She glanced at each door from her perch. Surely Henry or Isabel would race up and offer the required assistance. It wasn't her job. Her job was to finish dusting and go home. As Louisa resumed her task, her ears twitched. Coughing? Her gut clenched. Oh, something isn't right. Where is everyone? The glass teardrops shivered from the dull pounding above, which was followed by a muted, "Help! Please!" Louisa's heart jumped into her throat. Something was terribly wrong. She gathered up her skirts, crouched as she had so many times in the catwalks above the stage, and leapt from the ladder, landing on both feet. She tucked her duster in the back of her apron and ran for the stairs. An acrid woodiness coated Louisa's nose and throat like a magician's flash powder. She tried to swallow, but couldn't. Dark, billowing smoke hugged the upper risers as Louisa ungracefully hiked her skirts again and leapt 2 steps at a time. She swung around the upper banister, pulling her wild curls like a scarf over her mouth and nose, and plunged into the thick, gray cloud filling the upper hall. An orange flare licked the wooden floorboards just inside the master's workshop. "Master Bennet! Master Bennet, where are you?" she cried, fruitlessly waving smoke from her face. She groped for the hall table, then reached for the silver pitcher she knew sat waiting. After knocking 2 glasses over, Louisa's knuckles bumped smooth metal. She grabbed the container, its comforting weight pulling at her arm. Louisa dashed into the smoke-laden room, splashed water on several small fires, and dumped what remained across the flaming mass on the far side of the room. The master's work table. But where is he? Where is everyone? "Master Bennet! Master Bennet?" She coughed and crouched low, duck-walking around the smoldering table. It needed another dousing, but not yet. "Master Bennet, say something!" A strained cough. Left, toward the fireplace. It drew her. Louisa waved her arms before her, but only received grazed knuckles for her efforts. That pounding came from almost directly above me. She turned to where she hoped the middle of the room was, and searched again. Flesh met cloth. She grabbed at it. A leg. And that's where I will end. That is just the first part of the first chapter of Answering the Call, episode 1 for Shadow Phoenix. Like I mentioned, I'm a local author. I used to live in Newmarket for 9 years. I recently moved away, but Newmarket has always been a part of my heart, and I will always consider it home. I'm a part of the writers community of York Region, and I really enjoy getting together virtually as well as in person with a lot of the different authors, writers, poets, publishers, you name it, everybody who's right from starting out with an idea to being published. And it's fantastic being able to hang out with and rub elbows with everybody who's a part of that group. So thank you very much for hearing an excerpt from my story today, and I look forward to seeing you throughout Culture Days and beyond. Bye for now.